In a universe where life does not end at death, we explore the infinite possibilities forged by our very minds. Welcome to Arthadian Anthologies. Before we get started, I just want to inform you that this series was recorded over Discord. If the quality dips, it's due to connection issues. Greetings, fellow travelers and storytellers. Welcome to a new Reborn in Power series, featuring a Sin chosen from Squad 119 of the New Age campaign, Sai. Follow along as she is hired by the Tirth Trin Trek administration and preps for the festival before the events of a new squad. Enjoy. Sai. As you are looking at a codex sitting in front of you on a large circular table, you can't help but continue to think about your memory when you would look through that TL Codex that you had received before everything came to fruition. And then you hear muffled voices surrounding you.
Sai? Sai?
Sai! Sai! And you look up and you see surrounding you is Reggie and several others inside the administration. Actually, there you see Avori Tan, Esther Rano, and Ivina Area, sorry. And they're all just kind of staring at you. Reggie is kind of walking around as the rest of them are kind of just sitting down with codexes that they're writing on. And there is a central codex that is implanted into the desk or the table that you're sitting at. And you've been kind of zoning out a little bit. And you see Reggie's like, is everything all right?
Yes, of course. Sorry, I was receiving a couple messages. Nothing important.
You were receiving a couple messages that were important?
No, nothing to do with the festival or the situation here.
Oh.
No worries.
All right. And you see he kind of walks around. So, all of you will be asking or receiving information from Sai here. Make sure that you will provide to her all the different things that she asks for regarding this festival. The planning needs to be perfect for the people. Understood? And they all kind of nod. Avori looks over towards Reggie, her eyes kind of moving back and forth, seeming kind of nervous a little bit, but she looks down at her codex and continues to take a little bit of notes. You see Ivina looks over towards you. It's like, It's going to be a pleasure to work with you. I'm excited for this festival. And Reggie goes and takes a step out of the room. And you guys begin to work on stuff. They begin to tell you that there are several festivals that are going on across the harbor, mainly in Voestivez. There is one that is actually starting in a couple hours, and it's going to be lasting for an entire week. So, you might be able to visit that area to see what all goes on and try to emulate what they do in Pillar Command, the main capital of Voestivez itself.
Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful idea. See what's expected and see if we can do something unique in our own festival, just so that there's a reason why people are like, oh, we want to go to this.
Yes. Do you have any ideas of what unique things we could give to our people? Esper says.
I have a few ideas. I have a couple artists musicians that I want to invite over. It's a little early. It's a little too soon to perhaps do a parade, but and then I start going off on pointing out a few regions in the area, maybe like a garden show for people who have plants and stuff that they want to show off. Kind of, if you're familiar with 4-H, a type of 4-H kind of panel of judges and crafts show.
Yeah, like arts, like crafts. So like different kinds of shows where basically you'll have judges that will like rate certain arts and craftsy things that people do, or maybe like
like a quilt and blanket or carving or different subcategories.
As you are thinking about this, I would like you to roll me a discipline will check.
Heck yeah. That is a 19.
19. As you're talking and trading ideas, brainstorming at this table, you begin to remember back to something from your past. And you remember as you were walking down this large street, you remember seeing a group of your friends rushing up to you, trying to recall what memory this is from, as you are kind of there's two sets of memories that's going on here. It almost feels like there's a group of friends that are rushing towards you. They look like mages. As they come up to you, they yell out, "Nis! Nis!" And one of them begins waving. And they all come up to you and begin to gather around you. And you guys begin to tell each other stories about what goes on within your castels.
Miss scoops up the amicable ones in her arms and lifts them up and gives them a tight squeeze. It's been wild, man. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's been a while. And as you guys are continuing to talk, you are heading. It seems like at this point in time. This memory is around the time where you were heading to the Arcist Academy to basically train your Majin Link. But as you're heading over there, you remember that your friends would always try to come up with the different ideas for new magical items that might help your castels, or do certain things where you imbue your Majin Links into them. But as you're thinking about this, you also see that the diplomats, the officials of Tirth Trin Trek are all sitting around you. They're all kind of talking to each other, also brainstorming ideas and concepts. It makes you nostalgic. Missing those friends that you once had, but now you no longer see. You don't even know where they are anymore. But as the meeting concludes, everyone kind of stands up. Avori stands up the quickest, and she leaves the chamber. Esther yells out to her, "Avori, wait up!" And you see she heads out. Avina comes up to you.
Well, that was... I would say a rather productive meeting. So, are you okay with going to Pillar Command this evening to see the festival?
Yeah, that sounds like a excellent idea.
Very well. Perhaps I can meet you at your room in the next few hours?
Yes, looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
See you then. And then you see she begins to head out and leave. What do you do?
I got a few hours to prepare.
Yes.
And I'm assuming transportation's taken care of. I'm all charged up.
Yeah, you're assuming that. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they have transportation here for all of the officials. But yeah,
Then I'll probably work on settling down, mapping out the areas the festival held in. We talked briefly about what routes can be closed off and turned into pure walking, and what routes need to stay open, and all that. The good old finer details.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be still in the office for a bit, taking notes and writing things down.
All right. As you're in the office, taking notes, writing things down, you can't help but feel like everything right now is causing you to remember certain memories. And as you begin kind of falling into your head and your memories, you remember that the dream that you had just last night. And you fall into it, and it almost feels like you hear the rift, the arc rift that was presented to you at the Ren Tower in the harbor. You remember going through the hallways, going up on the lift, seeing plasmatic knights utilizing their abilities and training. You remember going up through this massive tower, extending almost maybe over like 50 levels, and each level is like a massive. It's almost like a huge building. On each level, like probably like a 2-story building on each level, and each one kind of goes up to the top of this tower, which extends into the skies of the harbor. And once getting into the chamber where you and your mother and several other of the Medine are inside, along with Master Plasmatic Knights and an Elite Plasmatic Knight that is inside there. And they all kind of are meeting with Medine to speak about the new state-of-the-art influx tech that your family is actually making specifically for the Plasmatic Knights. And you remember that you were taking notes for this meeting. Inside your regular codex, your other codex is still at home. Or did you bring it with you? I forget.
It's in my the regular codex is with me, but the fancy codex is in one of my suitcases.
Okay. Yeah, you right now the other codex is in your room, inside one of your suitcases, and you have your normal codex, but you can't help but feel like there's maybe you could understand more if you had that codex with you. And as you are sitting here, you hear your mother say, My daughter here will be working closely with me to take up the family business, so to speak. We want to make sure our work is up to satisfaction for you. And you see the elite knight looks over, is like, I'm sure the work will be approved. And he looks over towards you, is like, and it's good to see that you are a family business. We like to deal with families who are rather, loyal. And she looks over, is like, of course. And what of the other alliances that you have made regarding your energy channels, so to speak? Are you speaking of the Archaean family that you've had problems with in the past? Problems is a strong word. I would say we have crossed heads.
Disagreements?
And he looks over towards you. He's like, disagreements, yes. We still do work with them. And we want to make sure that we can allow for both of you to prosper, so to speak. After all, they are tied to a close castell to that of the Rin Empire, the Sor Castell. And you see your mother is like, yes, of course, but is it necessary to have magical capabilities like theirs, even though it's not as advanced or efficient like ours? We can actually utilize our technology to implement it into your own gear, helping your Cyanites to establish energy conductors within your own armor sets. That way, you don't run out of any energy as you're out in the field. And is this in production? Well, it certainly is not beyond our capabilities. In fact, I mean, with Enotech, there could be a full mass production of them within the next array. And if we were to find a deal regarding this technology that you propose, what would the agreements look like? And you see your mother looks over at you, gives you a little smirk, and then looks over towards the elite knight. Give us 70%. 70%. Indeed. And you will be our only client. We will not go to the Rune Forgers or any other energy practitioners within the market. 70% of our overall share. This is something I would need to speak to via Enzok about. If that is the case, then maybe I could take this technology to others within the market. And who might those others be? Oh, you know, we dabble across the realms. We send our technology and our energy influxes all across the core. There might be some places, maybe some civilizations that are in need of this technology. Why does it seem like you're like you already have it? Like there's something better about your stuff. You think that you're so advanced. We have Cyanites all across the realms working diligently, ferociously on expanding our advanced technology. our systems are ever present. What? Why? Who? Who could you take this to that would pose any kind of threat to us? Oh, you know, there are some out in the infinite space that could require our services. And as she says this, you can see that you've just been watching your mother talk. It feels like she's toying with them, but then as soon as she says that last phrase, out in the infinite space, you see the elite knight looks at her, glares at her, and then looks over towards the masters. The masters all kind of look back and forth, confused. And then he looks at her and says, I see. And what will you do if Vir Enzok says no? Vir Enzok doesn't need to know. Think about it like this. You do business with us. And then there is no problems. We're only asking for 70%. In fact, I'm willing to take it down to 65. If your other family within the castle, whatever, if they are so important, why do you not have them come here instead? Maybe they can negotiate terms alongside up with us. Or maybe you're afraid to speak to Vir Enzok? And she looks at him and kind of, you could see her eyes kind of glare straight into his, and he seems nervous, but he also seems like he's trying to keep his composure. And then he says, I am not afraid to speak to Vir Enzok. You are an interesting one, Medine. What makes you think that we will actually agree to this? So far, our entire colony has been doing well under the technology that you provide to us, as well as the Atis. Listen, have you not noticed the inefficiency in what they provide to you? Yes, their scrolls may go by much faster than yours. Yours have a recharge capabilities. It's understandable what you are suggesting. But maybe let's bring them in and speak with them. Understood? Very well. And you see your mother stands up. And she looks over at you. Oh, you sent me a message. Can you hear me? Discord is being a butt. Can you hear me?
I hear you, but it's like your voice has been sped up by 20%, and it's like all like one jumbled mess.
I'm so sorry.
I'm like, okay, I think I know what's going on.
So,
But also,
what was the last thing you heard?
they finished their discussion. Mom turned to look at me and she asked me something, but I don't know what she asked.
She stands up and she looks over at you and is like, "Come now, darling." And she goes and walks out as you see the master knights all kind of beginning to whisper amongst each other. And they seem concerned, but also curious. And as she walks out of the chamber, she looks over at you. What do you think of that?
I don't think pushing our relations with them like that will lead to a more stable connection.
Really? My darling Sifra, you need to learn who has the power in these negotiations. It's the one who holds the keys. And we have the keys. We have the knowledge, the understanding. And I'm not trying to push them. I'm more seeing what they might offer the others. The Atees. Do you still play with your little what's it called, spying tech?
Mother, play? I do work on spine tech, yes.
Well, maybe you can see what they go to the Atees with.
All right, Mother.
Thank you, my darling. And you see she kind of caresses your cheek. It will be all right in the end. I promise you. Besides, this empire, rumors say that they've been lying to their people for some time.
They don't deserve our technology. But they are the best customers. I just wanted to make sure that they knew that we know one of their greatest foes. And if we go to them with our technology, it could be a problem for them. And that elite knight, I could read him like a book. He's afraid of his own leader. He's afraid of looking bad in front of him. And if he comes up with a deal, or we come up with a deal for him, then that will make him look good in front of everyone else. Well, that just means that we will get what we want without needing to do anything else. Anything except for threatening him. I know you want to be all nice and nice about it all, but we can't afford that in our business, especially with the Atees and the growing reputation. Understood, Sifra?
Yes.
All right. Now, when we get back home, please, do all your little dilly-dallies with the spy tech that you have, and see if you can eavesdrop on their meeting when they have it. I don't expect it to be this mark, but probably within the coming week. Maybe go to Archaea and see if you can find someone within the Atees and follow them. And you see she begins to walk off. And you guys walk back to the pillar transport. You can't help but feel like you're doing something very nefarious.
Yeah, I kind of read that energy.
And, like, your mother loves you. You could tell that she loves you. And she wants to teach you what she knows. It's just not exactly what you expect. And once returning back to your home on Moriat, you go to your room, you close the door, and what do?
I don't want to work on spy tech for my mother. And her whispers of rumors of them not being quite as pristine as they seem has me far more interested. And I have a for answer. I've just locked myself out of them. So I check my own room for spyware.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
That's only a 10.
Looking around, checking to see if there's anything that might be spying on you. Because maybe... just maybe there might be something spying on you.
I mean, it's not my room. People can leave little eavesdrops in rooms. in diplomatic rooms just to see if they find any juicy information.
Yeah.
I've certainly done that maybe once or twice.
When you are looking around, you can't find anything. You feel like you've looked pretty hard. There's nothing around. But anything else you want to do?
I take out my suitcase, the one that I packed the codex in, and all the tools I've smuggled in.
Okay.
That I'm pretty sure my mom is somewhat aware of, because she told me in the first place not to bring my toys. So she might not know exactly what it is, but I'm pretty sure she's looked through. And I check that everything's in the bag and take out, and I look at it and I'm like, do I want to risk hacking?
Do you? Yeah. It looks like everything is there. And I mean, whether or not you risk it is all up to you.
Yeah, let's test the waters.
Alright. Go ahead and roll me a computers check.
That is a 24.
24. Easy enough. You're actually able to hack into the TL Codex, and then it opens up so that you can go through information. But last you checked, there was you also had to get through another code that appears right before you click on any entry that is found inside this codex. So whatever you're looking for, you can look through all the different categories and stuff and do a general search for things. But as soon as you click on any kind of entry that gives you the information that you're seeking, it will provide a code that you will also have to hack into.
All right, let's see if I can even find in this giant database sections about the knights there.
Okay. So as you're looking, I'll stick with that 24 that you rolled. You do a general search for the Plasmatic Knights, the Rin Empire, and you see several, probably a little over 100 different entries about them. And as you're going through, are there any keywords that you're going to search up?
So I filter my searches for stuff in the last. Let's go with 30 cycles.
All right, last 30 cycles. You filter that search, and it pops up around maybe 40 entries or so.
What was the name of the guy my mother was talking to?
The guy that your mother was talking to was Elite Knight. Elite Knight Carton.
I'll search him up as a jumping off point.
Okay. You search him up, There are no entries about him.
He's not in.
Seems like
Well, time for the boss.
Yeah, it seems like he hasn't like
done anything notable enough to go into.
Yeah, I mean he is an elite knight, which you have a general sense that elite knights are basically like the highest members of the plasmatic knights. But usually elite knights are only like they establish colonies for the Rin Empire, and usually like help like build their own Rin towers on those colonies and all that stuff. But I mean, colonies come up every almost like every day because there's so many elite knights. So it's not like you have to do something big in order to get, something written about you. And so you're gonna look up the leader that we were speaking of, Vir Enzok?
Yeah. Yep.
Or are you gonna look up like what's the key? Are you gonna look up his name, or are you gonna look up like a general like the emperor of the empire or something like that?
No, I'll look up his name.
Okay, so you look up Vir Enzok, and you see several entries that reference his name. Actually, a lot of entries that reference his name. More so than the amount that. Well, I mean, do you actually keep the filter for the past 30 cycles?
Yes.
38 out of the 40 have his name referenced.
All right, I'll pick one at random at this point. Let's go with number 27.
Okay. Now I have to. Now I have to do a random selector. 27, you said?
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second. In the meantime, can you roll me another computer's check as you see a code pop up as you click on it?
This is a 22.
22?
Yeah.
All right, as you go and you kind of hack into this one entry, it unlocks and you see it goes through information. And you begin reading. As you begin reading, you read about how the Ren Empire is diving into alien technology from outside of the Photonic realm, the Photonic and Cosmic realm. Technically, the Ren Empire was first established in the Cosmic realm, in the Nebulae Convergence, and this information is all gathered through this codex, and it basically talks about how they're trying to expand to different worlds across all of the realms to learn about different technologies, even ancient technologies, to try to bring them back up and add a little twist to them using the plasmatic abilities that they have at their disposal. And Vir Enzok is actually referenced in here because he was the one that began this initiative in cycle 112 ACR, which was actually about 28 cycles ago.
Nothing immediately relevant. If I click one of those information links, do I have to still type in a code to access that specific file?
Yes.
Or can I? Okay.
Sorry.
I was in Wikipedia.
But there are links. Whenever you click on it, it will pop up a code. But when you go to close out of this link that you just opened, you close out of it and then you reopen it, and the code doesn't appear again. It seems you've unlocked it.
Not quite what I want. What's the most recent of the files, of the 30-some files?
The most recent one is titled Immortality and its Curse for Mortality.
You know what? That's spicy enough that I just want to open it. That one's a 21.
21? You unlock it, and it appears, and you begin reading through it. And it talks about how actually inside the initiative that was set in Cycle 112 ACR by Vir Enzok, it actually speaks about how one of the alien worlds that was found, one of the alien worlds that was found has a chance to actually has the potential for establishing a wide range of cures for all diseases, ailments, even a cure for aging. And it goes into the ethics behind what would happen if people had if people had the potential for everlasting life in this regard. It talks about how there are sins that have this potential, and that there are other species that live very long, but this could actually allow for even the most disabled
Equal the playing field.
It would literally cause like everyone the possibility of immortality. But you see, they talk about how there's drawbacks to this, and that the study somewhat failed because the actual world was mostly destroyed. The world where this technology, this ancient kind of technology, was destroyed. Talks about how the elite knight that was studying this is named Invaz Zector, and the world is known as the actual world that was being studied as Cravion 3. And Vir Enzok assigned this to Invaz Zector along with several others, including the renowned pillar scientist TL, the person that you got this codex from. What do you?
Okay. Not something that would hit rumors to my mother's ear.
No, this one actually seems like it is like it no one probably knows about this except for people who might actually try to search this up and have some kind of insider information about it. like you just kind of stumbled onto something that hasn't been talked about at all.
Okay, good to know. Not immediately relevant to my situation,
No.
but still interesting to know.
Anything else you want to try to filter out?
I'm gonna add the word casualty to that list.
Casualty. All right. As you add casualty to the list, you see it looks like there are probably like maybe 5 entries that appear. But it seems like as you read through them, it just talks about certain events that have occurred, mainly just environmental effects that have happened, maybe like a volcano or an earthquake that occurred, a storm that happened, maybe a tower that was destroyed, and it talks about how many casualties was in it. And these are all like mainly headlines, so you're not actually like reading the entries. You haven't entered into them, but they don't really give what you feel like you're looking for. When you think back about what your mother said, though, you think about how the thing that caused your late night there to kind of freak out a little bit was that she said something about the infinite space. And it was just that term, the infinite space, kind of frightened them a little bit.
Yeah. All right, infinite space. Clear out all other entries besides the plasmatic nights.
Okay. So you type in infinite space and plasmatic night into the filter, and there are about a little over 1,500 entries that appear.
I'm gonna read down the headlines.
It talks about how the gist of what you see is how the Infinite and the Rin Empire have been at war for a very long time. It talks about the Sphere Infinite and how it is a conquest-driven, totalitarian, galactic civilization, intergalactic civilization, and they are not the kind of people you want to work with.
Yeah. I don't even bother going through it. All right. I've unlocked passcode. Let's not risk locking myself out or having a failsafe where it just crashes the database. So I'm gonna set down the codex down for now.
Okay.
Go to my spare bits and bobs and like, all right, boring spyware time. Time to make a good old microphone and hook it up to my cheap codex
All right. You're gonna make a little tiny microphone and hook it up to it. Your cheap codex, or do you don't want you want to try the other one, or
No.
okay?
I'm not messing with that again.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a mechanics check. Unless you have craft. The craft.
That is also a 21. I do not have craft.
Okay.
I have mechanics.
Mechanically speaking, you're able to gather the tools that you have at your disposal and create a tiny little microphone. It's very rudimentary. You just connect it to your codex and it begins recording whatever you pick up. But you'll have to try to find a place to put it. Oh. Lost, I can't hear you anymore. Oh no. Give me a second. Dang, Discord is being a butt today.
Done. It was very amusing you having a very serious conversation between my mother and and it was sped up. It'd pause for a few seconds and then everything would come in sped up.
I know how that sounds. I've heard it before. Yes, but where are you headed to now with your little microphone?
Let's see if they have any sort of meeting room. And just kind of casually explore a bit and keep exploring after if I find what I'm looking for.
You're going back to the Ring Tower?
Yeah.
Okay. You head back to the Rin Tower, going to the Rin Empire, or Vo'aro specifically, that's the capital environment on the harbor, after leaving Moriat, your home. And when you get to the Rin Tower, you see a bunch of plasmatic knights walking around. And as you go up to where you saw the lift, you see actually go ahead and roll me a perception check.
That's a 12.
A 12. Okie dokie. As you look around, you notice something. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a figure talking to multiple knights, and they're all kind of like all surrounding him, and he's kind of showing them how to use their abilities and how to breathe. And it seems like he's like doing these breath exercises with them, and it kind of catches your attention, and then suddenly you kind of hit someone's back, and you weren't looking straight in front of you, and you see this plasmatic knight that looks back at you. He's like, huh? And he looks at you, down towards you. And he's like, hello?
My apologies. I was just distracted. New sights.
Can I help you with something?
Oh, no, I'm mostly taking a walk and wandering for a bit.
Okay.
I'd rather not stay cooped up in my room all week.
And he looks at you, and he looks you up and down, and as he does so, he's like, you're not from around here, are you?
Oh, no, I'm not.
Well,
Cypher Medine, nice to meet you.
Kaiva Tremere. And he goes to shake your hand.
Handshake.
Well, Cypher, wherever you're heading, you could take the lift to whichever level you so choose. And are you here to become a plasmatic knight?
No, I'm mostly brought along my mother's business. A couple of meetings here and there.
Business with, I'm assuming the elites.
Yes.
Understandable. All right. Well, I'll leave you to it. Nice to meet you, Cypher.
Nice to meet you as well.
And he walks off to the side, and you begin to head over towards the lift. And the lift begins to go upward. I'm assuming you're going to the same level as before.
I mean, it seems like a good spot for possible future meetings the guy's gonna have, so.
Yeah, you go up to around level 50, 56 or so. And as you you lift up, it stops there, and you see the long hallways that go into different other hallways that go into multiple chamber rooms and stuff. You remember taking a few turns inside here, and it is a place to get lost in.
Oh, goody.
So, are you going to try to go to the same exact room as before, or are you going to just go to a random room?
I mean, I don't really care. I mean, Mom asked me to spyware things. I honestly don't really care if it succeeds as much as she probably wants it to. So it's. I'm gonna pick a room I'm gonna pick a meeting room at random and hook it up.
Okay. You begin to head over.
As soon as if I find a meeting room that has like a plant in the corner or some decorative gone around like a light or something.
Yeah, you begin to go through the hallway, go to one of the larger doors. The larger door kind of opens up to a longer hallway that goes into multiple meeting rooms. You go to the one right or left.
Let me roll a D2. Okay, it's gonna be right.
All right, right is right, and you go straight to the right. Now I have to do a roll. All right. As you go up to the door opens up, and you see inside is what looks like a monitor screen at the back of this chamber. You see a large circular table, and you see a flower. Oh, actually, it looks like a plant that is extending up over on the left side of the room. Actually, there is another plant on the other side, on the other corner, and you also see what looks like an image of a figure that actually I will send you a picture of them. Let me see if I can find it.
Listeners, you don't get to see the image unless you click a link that might be added to the description.
It is a picture of Emperor Zahn. Looks like that.
Hey, I've seen that image.
And yeah, you see this chamber. There's no one inside here right now.
All right. Well, what would be the best spot to put a microphone?
Well, you see the monitor does have some inputs that are on it.
All right, let's.
You also see that there are two plants inside here with their
The monitor would probably look a little more natural if it was spotted.
Yes.
Amongst. Let's put it over there.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a computers check.
That's a 23.
Easy enough. You attach it to the monitor, and it begins picking up any sounds that are heard inside this room. And yeah, you feel like your job is done here.
I look at the image just in case, somebody walks by, and then for a few moments, and then I leave. I wander around the hallways, keeping careful track of where the elevator is so I can leave.
All right, go ahead and roll me
and then maybe, yeah.
Roll me a navigation check real quick. Dang, my throat.
That's a 21.
Okay, yeah. You're doing pretty well here.
Yeah, I am. I mean, earlier, it's... I think, okay, I rolled a 7, I rolled a 1, a 12, 10, a 9, a 9, a 5.
Yeah, you're doing that. That's pretty
2.
pretty good. Pretty good layout. But
yeah, it helps that it's been mostly int.
yeah, you've been you look as you're kind of trying to keep track of where the lift is to go back down. Yeah, you feel like you have a good grasp on how this place is mostly laid out. If you want to continue to explore, you may, or you can just leave.
I'm gonna wander around for a little bit, and then I'll go down to a different floor and wander around there for a little bit, and then loop back to my...
All right. So you're right now you're kind of at the lift on the 56th level. You're gonna explore a little bit. Are you going right or left? Before you actually went down the right path that led you to...
Let's go left.
Okay. So you go leftward, and you see 4 large doors like you saw before, 2 on each side of you.
Looks real fancy. Let's go on the left door.
Left door?
Yeah.
Closest to you or furthest from you?
Furthest from me.
All right, you go over towards the left door, and the door opens up, and you see a long hallway leading down towards a door at the end of it, and then you see about 6 other doors, 3 on both sides of you.
I am not going to go in the big door at the end of the hallway. But I'll peek into one of the smaller doors.
Okay. Which one would you like?
Let's go middle right.
Middle right. All right. You begin to head past the doors, the first 2 doors, Please roll me another perception check.
That's a 17.
17. Okay. Yeah, as you're walking past the first two doors, you do hear a little bit of like muttering, like a muffled voices inside the door to your left. The first door to your left. Are you just going to go past it and go to the second door on the right? Or are you going to try to eavesdrop?
Cypher does not want to be complicit in her mother's shenanigery. She is going to ignore and keep going to the empty room, possibly.
All right, you continue to move ahead, and you go over towards the second door on the right. And as you get over to it, you do also hear muffled voices inside there.
Oh, I'm not going to interrupt somebody's meeting. Busy rooms. I turn around and go out, and I leave.
You go out and you go back to the lift?
Yeah.
Okay. You go back to the lift, and you're just like shaking your head, like, God damn. As you go back to the lift, I need to roll something. You go back to the lift and you see it is just raising up as you're walking up. Are you going to hide as you see the lift is raising up, or are you just going to kind of wait for it?
I'm going to act like I'm meant to be here.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a deception check.
That's a 19.
19. As you see it lifts up, you see that same plasmatic knight from before. When you actually ran into him, you didn't actually notice this from before, but he is it seems like he is a pro knight, which they tend to have more of a darker clothes. Seeing his face, he is a bit more tan. He has these violet blue eyes that kind of stare into you, and you see he's kind of shocked to see you, and then you also see a few other figures alongside him, and they look like they are Archaean. And then you also notice a rune forger in their midst.
I give him a sort of like a knowledge nod of existence. I slide into the elevator and
you see he looks over. He's like, "Hey, Cypher, nice to see you again." And you see the other Archaeans look over at you, and one of them looks over and is like, "Cypher?" And you see they look over. He's like, "You wouldn't happen to be the daughter of the Medine?"
yes, actually.
And you see she just turns away from you, and then you see Kyver looks over and is kind of confused for a second, and it's like, shall we all get going now? And they're like, yes, of course. And then they all begin to walk ahead as the Rune Forger, actually Master Forger, looks back towards you and then kind of gives you a wink. And then the lift begins to lower. Go ahead and roll me a lore check.
10.
10? Yeah, you don't know who that Master Forger is, but he looks familiar. But as the lift lowers, which level are you going to now? You're going down now, so anywhere underneath 56.
Do I know anything interesting about some of the floors?
Apparently some of the floors are like dojos, places to train. Some actually have their own simulated kind of training simulations where people can go into them and basically train like they're going into like some kind of field operation. There are also other floors where there are laboratories where cyanites kind of work. There are also places where most of the plasmatic knights go in order to actually charge the Rin Tower itself. But you're not sure of which floors those are at.
Yeah. All right. Let's find one that possibly has a view and walk around that one.
Okay. So 55 to 2? Which number are you choosing?
Let's roll a D55. Let's see what it gives me. I'm going to 24.
24, perfect. You go down and you lower down to level 24. It opens up to what looks like a large domed chamber. And then you see doors kind of spread out probably about like 10 feet apart between each other. There are a lot of doors inside here.
Gonna pick a couple random hallways.
Okay, you go up to the doors. The doors open up, and you see it goes down. Each time you go through one, they all look the same. It goes down a hallway, probably about 30 feet away, and then there's another door at the end of the hallway.
Is there any difference between anything here, or am I just spelling myself to get lost?
Well, I mean, there's no differences between each hallway, but you are inside a massive domed room. So going down one of the hallways to check out whatever is on the other side of the door down it, which it almost looks like every time you go through the hallway, the hallway kind of lights up with multiple beams of plasmatic energy that kind of flows down. And every door looks the same except for this domed room. You're not sure exactly what's on the other side of each door, though. Each hallway. Until you go through it.
You're gonna keep on going through these doors. Hopefully I'm not someplace where I shouldn't be. But, they built their place like a maze and they didn't give me, hey, this is the tourist hotspot rundown, so.
No, they didn't. I mean, you did act like you were meant to be here, so. As you walk through one of the hallways at random, I'm assuming. 'Cause there's a lot of them, and
There's a lot.
you go through the door. You go up to the door. The door does not open. You see a panel next to the door, and as you go to check it, it has a bioscan signature that requires some kind of maybe handprint. You haven't tried hacking into anything like this before.
Yeah, and I've had a bad time hacking. A decent time hacking.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check real quick. I want to see if you can hear.
11.
You hear a faint rumbling sound. And you can feel... It almost feels like you can feel this electrical charge that is causing your hairs to stand up. But that's about it.
Caution overrules curiosity at this point.
Okay.
My goal was to not draw attention while I drop off the microphone. My goal is not to get caught snooping in places I probably shouldn't be in.
So, what is the plan? Are you going to head out now?
I'm heading out.
All right.
Not opening mystery electricity door.
All right. You go to head out back over towards the lift. The lift begins to lower back down. As it goes and lowers back down, you reach the first level where you see all the plasmatic knights walking around. You see several people who maybe are taking pictures. You also see maybe some senators who are also getting spoken to by a lot of the press. And as you begin to go to walk out, you hear someone yell out, "Hey, you! Sifra!"
I look up and see who's speaking to me.
You look back and you see the Master Forger from before. And he begins to walk up to you. You don't see Kyver with him. But he walks up to you, he's like, I've heard about the issues that your family has with the Atis. Is there any possible way that maybe we can have a meeting with your family?
Yes.
And the Atis?
Yes, it might be strenuous.
Well, I would be moderating it.
All the better then. I can't
actually,
say that every member of my family would be going to this meeting with good faith.
Yeah, well, perhaps I can meet the head of your family. In fact, I do have some pool around the core. Your family is a part of the Celeste, correct? The nobility in Celeste Minari?
I give the Master Forger a nod.
Well, maybe I'll go straight to the Celeste to speak with them, if your family isn't going to be so forthcoming. And he says that it almost feels like it's a threat towards your mother, or like the head of the family. But he says it in a way that is almost like he's just trying to get everything situated so that you guys aren't causing problems for each other.
Constantly, but like we have for years.
Yes.
The back and forth of...
Listen, I've been quite busy most of the time, and I know that this has been a constant feud that has been going on, and I want to make sure that it gets fixed. Especially because it was my father's dream to make sure that the Plasmatic Knights and the Rune Forgers and everything worked together well as one in order to fend off against the threats that we might face. As you look at him, you realize something. This is Thadian Sor, the head of Castel Sor.
Ooh, dang.
And he looks down at you and is like, so if you can, please, let the head of your family know that Master Thadian Sor would like to speak to them.
And if all possible, I'll try my best to stack the meeting in with the most willing to listen members of my family.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sifra. And he begins to walk off ahead of you, and then he looks back at you. It's like, I look forward to seeing you again. And he goes and leaves. Do you leave?
Yeah, I leave.
Do you go back home, or do you go somewhere else?
This is... Yeah, I'll head back to where we're staying. Do I have a full list of family members that came along with?
To the meeting that you had with your mother?
Yeah.
It was only you and your mother, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll head back home, trying to think of ways to word not only Mother's agreement to having this. Well, she will agree because it's Thadian Sor. But to maybe stack it with either people who are equally annoyed with the constant bickering and fighting over contracts that our family does with Deity's family, or people who don't have grudges
All right. As you are heading back, you do get a notification on your codex. Do you check it out?
Yeah, I'll check it out.
You check it out and you see your microphone has picked up a recording.
Interesting. Not something to listen to in public.
And you also do see a notification that has popped up saying check your TL codex. And it has an unknown identification on it. You do not have your TL codex
More
on you, though.
concerning. No, it's back in the room.
Yeah.
All right.
So you go back home to Moriat, back to Celeste Minari, where your actual state is, and once heading there, you get back inside. You go over through the living room, up the stairs, and you see the door to your mother's chamber is open, ajar, and you see that she is currently inside there at her desk in a robe, and she looks back at you and she's like, Sifra, come in here, darling.
I open the door and take a seat in one of the...
So, how did it go?
I mean, went in there, looked around, left a microphone, had the most... maybe not the most, but I think you'd find an interesting interaction.
Interesting interaction? How so?
I ran into the Thadian Soar.
Her eyes widen, looks at you, and she's like, what?
And? Did you...
He expressed interest in meeting our family in a setting that is less of a contract battleground between us and the Atees. To see where our goals are leading to, I suppose.
Darling, did you accept this offer?
You see,
I expressed that I would discuss it with you, of course.
Of course.
And that I'd leave contact information.
I see. And the Thadian Sword, what is his... He was there for, I take it, to meet with Vir Enzok? Or did you know why he was there in the first place? And how did he know? How did he know you?
Yes. He is, of course, familiar with her family.
But how did he know you?
And
you haven't seen him before, have you? In the past?
No, I do have a couple published papers, but I don't believe they're quite anything that would garnish his interest specifically.
Okay. And
And I believe this is a meeting that we should take.
Oh, darling. You have so much to learn. And you see she stands up and she walks over to you. I will reach out to Therian Soa to see what he seeks in this meeting. And I will let you know if anything comes of it. Understood.
Yes.
Now, go back to your room and see if you find any recordings as you have planted the device, correct?
Yes.
Good. Now go, please. And you see she turns away and you see her hand clenches into a fist and she's just like... And you walk out of the room. And you get another notification on your phone. on your codex. And you check it out and you see another notification from an unknown saying, check your TL codex now.
Suspicious, and I go off to do that.
You go over to your room, the door opens up, creaks open, and then closes, and then you go over and grab your TL codex, and as you go to unlock it, it unlocks, and you see appearing in front of you a notification saying, need to meet now. Come to the dome on Vicroniax. And you see it is signed TL.
Pack everything up. Put some earbuds in so I can listen to the recording that I have of the meeting, and I slip out.
You slip out without seeing. So go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
That's a 13.
All right, you feel like you slipped out well enough to not garner the attention of anyone inside your home as you begin to head out and you begin to listen in on the recording. And as you do so, we're going to end the session there. But yeah.
Every time that faint, spooky music goes in the background, I'm like immediately tense up and like, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'll make sure to put these recordings up so that you can hear them too. But yeah, what do you think? What'd you think?
Mother's messing with things that she shouldn't be.
Yeah, and she didn't seem very happy when you brought that information.
No. No.
We'll see what happens.
Probably gonna try to pull in a bunch of cousins that I know that aren't gung ho about the whole. We're gonna take this contract specifically, not because it'll benefit us the best, but specifically because it's gonna spite the Atiz family type of dealings we do on too regular of a basis.
All right. Well.
Oh boy.
Well, I think maybe we could do a session next week, and then we can figure all that stuff out.
I thank you for listening to a Duality of a Sin. Be sure to listen to the New Age campaign or even listen back on A New Squad to wrap your head around this mini origin story for Sai. Also, if you want to be reborn yourself, you can subscribe as a Chosen to access Chosen creation and exclusive Codex entries. Until next time, travelers, be safe, stay safe, and if death comes to you, may you be reborn in power.